Scottish Folk and Fairy Tales. This is the tale of Sir Godfrey MacCulloch. Scottish fairies, in like manner, sometimes reside in subterranean abodes and in the vicinity of human habitations, or according to popular phrase, under the doorstone or threshold, in which situation they sometimes establish an intercourse with men by borrowing and lending their kindly offices. In this capacity, they are termed the good neighbors, for supplying privately the wants of their friends and assisting them in the transactions while their favors are concealed. Of this traditionary story of Sir Godfrey MacCulloch forms a curious example. Of this, as this Gallovidian gentleman was taking the air on horseback near his own house, he was suddenly accosted by a little old man arrayed all in green and mounted upon a white palfrey. After mutual salutation, the old man gave Sir Godfrey to understand that he resided under his habitation, and that he had great reason to complain of the direction of the drain or common sewer, which emptied itself directly into his chamber of dais, which is his best room. Sir Godfrey MacCulloch was a good deal startled at this extraordinary complaint by guessing the nature of the of dealing with who he had to deal with. He assured the old man with great courtesy that the direction of the drain should be altered, and caused it to be done so accordingly. Many years afterward, Sir Godfrey had the misfortune to kill in a fray a gentleman of the neighbourhood. He was apprehended, tried, and condemned. On the scaffold upon which his neck was to be struck off was erected on Castle Hill of Edinburgh, but hardly had he reached the fatal spot when the old man, upon his white palfrey, pressed through the crowd with rapidity of lightning. Sir Godfrey, at his command, sprung on behind him, and the good neighbour spurred his horse down the steep bank, and neither he nor the criminal were ever seen again. It's the tale of the Laird O'Coe. In the days of yore, the proprietors of Colzine in Ayrshire were best known in the countryside as the Lairds O'Coe, a name bestowed upon Colzines, or sometimes the coves or coves in the rock underneath the castle. One morning, a very little boy carrying a small wooden can addressed the laird near the castle gate, begging for a little ale for his mother, who was sick. The laird directed him to go to the butler and get his can filled. So away he went as he was ordered. The butler had a barrel of ale on tap, but about half full, out of which he proceeded to fill the boy's can. But to his extreme surprise, he emptied the cask, and still the little can was not nearly full. The butler was unwilling to broach another barrel, but the little fellow insisted on the fulfillment of the laird's order, and the reference was made to him by the butler, who stated that miraculously large capacity of the tiny can, and was received instant orders to fill up the ale in the cellar would suffice. Obedient to this command, he broached another cask, but had scarcely drawn a drop when the can was full, and the dwarf departed with expressions of gratitude. Some years afterwards, the laird, being at the wars in Flanders, was taken prisoner, and for some reason or other, probably a spy, condemned to die a felon's death. The night prior to the day appointed of his execution, being confined in a dungeon strongly barricaded, the doors suddenly flew open, and the dwarf reared appearing, said, "Laird O'Coe, rise and go," and the summons was too welcome to require repetition. Upon emerging from the prison, the boy caused him to mount on his shoulders, and in a short time set him down at his own gate on the very spot where they had first met, saying, "One good turn deserves another. Take you for being so kind to my old mother," and vanished.